Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, March 31st. It is the last day of March, and that only means that April is here. And for me, that is crazy. This weekend, April 4th, is going to be Friendly Neighborhood Comic Con in Logansport. I will be posting details of that today because that is going to be a big show. There's Thurston Doofy from Scary Movie that's going to be there. I forget his name already. Jake the Snake Roberts is going to be there as well. And it's a 2-story pavilion, 60 plus vendors, a lot to do. Saturday night, they're even doing a couple concerts. One put on by the Foleys, which is a cover band that they all dress like Mick Foley from WWF and WWE, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And then there's another band that's even playing that night as well. So if you don't have anything to do, Saturday, Logansport is going to be the place to be if you're a nerd and enjoy these types of things. But yeah, so that's this Saturday, April 4th. Following Saturday, Crawfordsville, Montgomery County Fairgrounds 4-H building. That's going to be our first mega show of the year, where same thing, we got 60 plus vendors showing up. I will be on the stage that day, taking that over, showing off all kinds of comics and goodies. And that's going to be, again, 60 plus vendors. The first big Crawfordsville show, the next one being in October. So, but anyway, that's the following Saturday. Then the following Saturday, the 18th, is going to be Muncie Comic Con, where our buddy Stuart Sager is going to be there. Quite the famous artist Tony Moore is going to be there, and another great show. Muncie Comic Con is always one of my favorite shows to go to every year. Just tons of good things. They definitely put on a quality versus quantity kind of show. They do the cosplay event. They got kids events. It's a great time. It's an absolutely great time. But that's in Muncie, April 18th. And then April 19th is going to be Knights Hall, which I will be there as well. So that'll be a very full weekend. Lack of sleep, here I come. And then the last Saturday of the month, April 25th, is going to be my 2-year anniversary, where we're going to have Stuart Sager and Gavin Smith here doing autograph signings and whatnot. I've got 12 plus vendors taking over the building next door. We're going to have giveaways and door prizes and just all kinds of shenanigans as we have done before. And then, I tend to enjoy having fun, and hopefully you guys will enjoy having fun as well. So, anyway, April is packed. So put it on your calendar. Don't pick and choose which to come to. Just come to them all, because that's ultimately what you're going to have to do. Each show has its own strengths and weaknesses, and all of them are great. If you're a comic person, toy person, it's going to be quite the thing. So hopefully you got your tax check. Or you might want to go through your collection, find what you can sell, trade, wheel and deal with. Because you're going to need to. You're going to need to. And like I said, that's April. That's every weekend in April is something going on, and I will be at all of what I just mentioned. Unless something cataclysmic comes up, or I get, take an arrow to the knee or something. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But it's going to be fun. It's going to be full. As for today and what's in the box, it's all quality over quantity today. I did get a short box of stuff ready. That's going to have to wait another week. There's some good things in there, as there always are. But I got back a submission from CGC So I want to show off all the things that came through the store, all the customer submissions and whatnot. And then there's a small stack of things that I got from an order. They do a premium blind bag for X amount of dollars, where you get a handful of just cool, fun stuff. And then there's going to be a little bit of an extra little surprise here at the end that will absolutely be worth the wait. So anyway, so yeah, you want to get to it. So we'll start with the small stuff. So again, this is a premium blind bag that you can order through Lunar, and they send you just a bunch of random stuff, right? So you used to be able to do the same thing through Diamond, which is it's a retailer premium thing, again, where you get a bunch of ratios, exclusive books, things of that nature. You don't know what you're going to get. The first one that I did, or actually the last one I did, was a bit of a letdown. My big book out of that was a Archie comic head sketch cover of Jughead on a blank sketch, which, it's a sketch cover, that's cool. Not a lot of Archie people out there. Jughead, it's a little bit more enticing because people like Jughead, but it's, again, just wasn't my cup of tea. But if you're interested in a Jughead sketch cover on an Archie book, message me and we'll see what I can do. The first one out of the lot I'll show, this is a Stitch number 2. Virgin cover. What makes this fun, this is the premium metal cover. So these go for $100 a piece, because the premium metals, they're an exclusive item, right? So you have to order them individually, specifically, if you will. And there's not a lot of them out there at all. But this was one of the books that was in the lot. Like I said, a premium metal Stitch number 2. That's kind of fun, right? This one, pretty random on this one. Well, and let me go back to this one. It does come with a Dynamic Forces premium sticker and certificate of authenticity. So does this one, which is Frankenstein Thor number 1. Thor number 8, Frankenstein horror variant. Excuse me, I completely misspoke. Comes with the Dynamic Forces certificate of authenticity on the back. This is autographed by Donny Cates, which is he's a name in the industry. Should be recognizable. This is number 88 out of 150 copies that they ran through Dynamic Forces. So one of 150. Pretty rad. If you dig horror books, dig autographs, this is fun. This is totally fun. Speaking of signed books, this one's a bit of a rare duck, as one of my friends would say. Harley Quinn, number 57. This is a Terry and Rachel Dodson autographed copy. Again, Dynamic Forces, certificate of authenticity on the back. This is 13 out of 30. So there's only 30 of these in existence, dual signed by Rachel and Terry Dodson. So this is a pretty cool book. If you are a Harley Quinn fan, this is something that should be right up your alley. Pretty neat. This book came in on a trade, and this one you guys should almost instantly recognize. But this was a commissioned Dark Side deceased sketch cover variant done by our friend Stuart Sager. This is a beautiful copy. Love the rendition of Dark Side that he put on here. Just a super cool book. I mean, how this came in on a trade is quite surprising to me. But yeah, if you're into Dark Side, you're into Stuart Sager, you're into original art, especially a full page sketch cover, I got you. And then the last book that I'll show before we get to the slabs, this one came in a collection. I did post a picture of it last week, but it's always worth showcasing. The infamous Batman number 423. This is a newsstand copy of said book. Beautiful book. Beautiful, beautiful book. This is highly sought after, highly requested, and I finally have another copy. I've had probably 4 or 5 copies come through the store in my 2 years of being open, and they all sell pretty quick. Again, just a beautiful, beautiful book. The only real big thing of note on it is there's a tiny little tear right next to the newsstand, but it's not, I put it around a 7 still for the condition. So it makes it a little bit more affordable. Mint condition, they sell for anywhere between $3 to $3.50, depending on how good of a salesman you are. So this is obviously not a $300 book, which makes it affordable to you. Now, moving on to the slabs. So this was another one that came out of that premium bundle that I was just talking about from Lunar. So kind of a random book, nothing huge really. But it's still a pretty cool book. The next Batman, number 1, graded as a 9.6. So that's a pretty high grade for a book. If you're a Batman collector, a number 1 collector, this is a pretty good addition to your collection. So let's see. Let's kind of go in order here. So this one, this is for a customer that submitted a book through me. He got this signed, I believe, at HorrorCon last year. But he got Alien Romulus number 1 signed by Fede Alvarez, which I believe was the director on that movie, but I could be completely wrong. But still, just a beautiful book, great cover, good signature even, good signature placement, and a 9.2 to boot. So that's just a cool book, especially if you're an Alien fan. This book has a little bit of a story behind it, so you should recognize it right out the gate. Ultimate Fallout number 4. This was autographed by Mark Bagley, and this came back a 9.4. Funny, because this book was originally a 9.0 when we got it pressed and sent off the first time. Then the customer took it, cracked it himself, got it signed by Bagley, resubmitted it to me. We repressed it again, sent it off, and it came back a 9.4. So a full 0.4 points higher the second time through, which means that everything is subjective, my friends. I believe the grader was having a good day that day, which works to our benefit, right? So the customer was quite thrilled, quite happy to see that return at a better grade than when it got sent off and even handled a second time. This one, same customer as the other 2, got this sent off. This is a pretty rad book, if I do say so myself. Star Wars number 1, The Clone Wars, the first appearance of Ahsoka Tano, and signed by Rosario Dawson and Ashley Eckstein. So beautiful book, big signatures taking up the cover. I loved the cover on this. I think it's just it's a well composed piece of art. But yeah, just great book. So again, Rosario Dawson signing her first appearance, if you will. And then let's see, we'll move on to this one. Another customer, a separate customer from the other ones. I actually tracked down this book for him. Great friend of mine since childhood, and I'm working on getting him a connecting set of 4. So I believe he has the Colossus one already, the Colossus Storm one, which means that he would need the Gambit cover and the Magneto cover. You already know what I'm talking about? Well, you should. X-Men number 1. This is the Jim Lee run from the 90 series, 91 series to be exact. Signed by Chris Claremont. You can see if we can get the glare right there across Wolverine right there. This one's signed by Chris Claremont. The other book that I mentioned, the Colossus one, also signed by Chris Claremont. If you happen to have a Magneto cover or the Gambit cover, please message me. Because we may be able to trade, or maybe you want some store credit. Because I'm going to try to track down a set of 4 for him. That way he has all 4 books connecting. And if you have it graded, great. If you don't have it graded, it's not a big deal. Still looking for the same book, but we're looking for the Chris Claremont signature. If you have Chris and, say Scott Williams or Jim Lee on it, still take it. Still take it. Still looking for it. We're just looking for a signature series of the 4 books. But anyway, a 9/8 copy. Not overly hard to get on that book because they're so common and so forth. But just a great piece, especially for X-Men fans. This is something cool. This book submitted by another customer. This is a great cover, especially if you're a Spider-Man fan, a Mary J fan. Amazing Spider-Man number 15, ScottCampbell.com sketch edition variant, signed by none other than Scott Campbell. Just a beautiful black and white cover. The red just stands out like crazy, as one might imagine. A 9/8 copy. Just a beautiful book. I know that he was super excited when he got this and immediately brought it into me. He's like, I want to get this slabbed. I was like, yeah, you do. Absolutely. Gosh, it's hard to decide on what to show next because, yeah, I'm going to end on that. I'm going to show you my stuff next, okay? I'm going to end on some extremely good icing, okay? Let's see. Speaking of Spider-Man, I sent this off. This one will be available for purchase in the store. Amazing Spider-Man number 16. This is a Mike Mayhew variant copy signed by Mike Mayhew. Came back a 9/8. And then it's just a beautiful, so if you're like MJ, if you like your Black Cat, maybe you like playing cards, I don't know. Just a great book, right? Yeah, totally worth the effort if you like Spider-Man and so forth. Let's see. This one will be available for purchase as well. I had one of these at one point. So this is New Avengers number 7. This is the first appearance of the Illuminati that we see in the last Doctor Strange movie. This came back a 9/4, but more importantly, that is an autograph by David Finch, who was on this book. Obviously, did the cover art for this one. Great artist. I like David Finch stuff. I like the stuff that he's doing for Walking Dead right now. Just his very gritty, kind of dark, detailed covers are just absolutely beautiful. But if you're a David Finch fan, this is an autographed number 7, 9.4. Yeah, add it to your collection. Do it. This one will also be available in the store. Perfect timing for this, as they just released the new series on this, 2 weeks ago, I think. This is Alias number 2, so the Jessica Jones story. It says a Luke Cage appearance in it. But more importantly, that is a Brian Michael Bendis autograph on here. Brian Michael Bendis has done a lot of work for Marvel. Very notable guy in Marvel. Great story writer. I know that he did a lot for Daredevil. He obviously did the Alias. He did Iron Man for a while. Just a great guy. But anyway, an autographed Alias 9.6 Brian Michael Bendis. This is available for purchase. Beautiful book. If you're an Alias fan, that's kind of a tough one to snag. This is going to be my personal collection. Okay. So just like what I do for everybody else, I like to show off what I get because as a comic book store owner, God knows what I end up keeping and collecting and keeping around, right? It can be tough. It can be quite tough sometimes. This one I actually bought for my wife. This is a Batman Adventures number 12 facsimile blue sketch cover, but it is a head sketch of Harley Quinn on her first appearance, done by Ken Hazer. Just a beautiful, beautiful book. I'll zoom in, get a little bit closer there. So you Harley Quinn fans, eat your heart out. That is a 9.8. So it's a beautiful book, great books for anybody's collection, including my own. And then this one, I was actually debating on selling this one, but I think I'm going to end up keeping it just because of how unique it is. When I originally purchased it, I had full intentions on selling it, but it came back a 9.8. And because it was such a high grade, which I was not expecting, makes it tough to let go. So it might be one of those that, like, eventually down the road, it might be one of those things that the sentimental value may wear off on it. But as of now, it is a me thing. But this is an Thundercats number 1 Arthur Adams cover that actually is signed by Arthur Adams. And I'm pointing at it. Yeah. Signed by Arthur Adams, 11/2002. Head sketch of Panthro, which is actually my favorite Thundercat. Head sketch of Panthro by Arthur Adams on the cover, 9.8 copy. So this was just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful book. Again, it was one of those, I was like, that's pretty cool. Oh, it's signed? That's neat. Oh, head sketch? Oh, man, that's pretty rad. And then got it graded. And then, boom, 9.8. And I was like, oh, my God, that's cool. Super cool. This was a Dynamic Forces release as well. I don't remember how many copies of it was out there. I want to say it was like 100, maybe even less than that. So, again, the rarity of it tends to supersede the ability to sell it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for sure. Now, this book is pretty cool. This is the first 9.9 copy that's come through the store. So I know that the metal books will have a higher likelihood of getting higher grades because it's metal. So you're not going to be getting any wear, tear, spine ticks, things like that are going to be found on paper. Plus the corners are going to be more crisp, more straight, those kind of things. So again, the likelihood is there that they will come back higher grade. Doesn't take away from the fact that it is a 9.9. And I'm super stoked that I was even able to be a part of the process. This one, headlocked, Tales from the Road, signed by Donovan Danhausen. So back on the wrestling kick, Danhausen tends to have a exclusive comic book series where he talks about some of his adventures on the road, and then does the homage covers, special edition covers, exclusive covers, and so forth. This gentleman met him, I believe, at HorrorCon last year as well. Bought one of the books, got it signed on, even got a little doodle right here. That's a face doodle that he put on the cover. Brought it to me. We got it slabbed, and it came back a 9.9. So just a beautiful book. Congratulations to John for getting this one. It's a great piece. It's a great piece. Little jealous because I was hoping that I would get a 9.9 at some point, but 9.8s, they're not bad. It's about 9.8 is like the modern 10 because that's all we be able to see or be able to seem to get. But that's totally fine. Totally fine. Now, that was it for the slabs. Now, the last thing that I wanted to show you guys, a buddy of mine, and I may have mentioned this before, I think I showed you some of the 3D print stuff that a friend of mine is starting to get into and starting to print. We're going to start kind of carrying a few pieces here I don't want to go down the rabbit hole and have a bunch of 3D print stuff. I mean, because, personally, when I go to Comic Cons and that's all you see, it waters down the experience. It gets it's a bit too much, right? And especially in 3D printed world, people just print and pump, print and pump, print and pump, and then they're charging crazy prices for some of it. It dilutes the experience, right? And it's stuff that you can see at every single booth. You got ring holders, you got little Buddhas with turtle heads on them, you got, coffee cups and mugs, and just the same stuff, right? But the way that I'm going to look at this, I'm going to offer unpainted 3D pieces. So that way, if you want to go through the process of painting it yourself, painting it a different color, whatever, do variants and so forth, you can go that route, right? So, for example, here was a Cobra Commander that he printed. I've had this up on the desk for a while. This is going to go up for sale now. I mean, it's got great detail. And if you're a painter, by all means, grab it, do what you will with it, add it to your own collection. I mean, painting is, 3/4 of the process and cost, really, on these things. I mean, it does take time to weed it, get the extra plastic pieces off of it, sand it down, smooth it out, that kind of thing. But the painting and the detail, obviously is a battle in and of itself. So anyway, Cobra Commander, if you're interested in it, it's going to go up for sale today. But what I wanted to show off, he's going to be bringing me some pieces today of Absolute Batman. And as you know, Absolute Batman is like printing money right now and is super crazy, super high in demand. And they don't have a lot of figures or anything for it. I think Diamond Select just announced a big statue that you can order through their website and get all crazy with if that's something that you're into. He found a few files of the Absolute Batman that we're going to print and then again have in store unpainted. However, if you want one that's painted, I painted one yesterday. So this is the smaller scale Absolute Batman that he made with the 3D printer. Like I said, I painted this yesterday just to have it available for the video today. Wanted to show off how awesome this thing is, how detailed this thing is. So, what I did with this, standard Batman design, painted, the black bits, went over the black with a dry brush silver to kind of give it a metallic effect. Then went with a brown base coat for the belt, took brown ink and went over it to give it that kind of wet, leathery kind of look. And then dry brushed it again with the brown ink on the body to kind of dirty him up, take the sheen off of him, make it look more realistic on his costume, and then took clear coat and spray painted it to prevent any chipping and to kind of give it that final glossy look. But anyway, so imagine this looking like this, grayscale, gray filament, and then painted it like that, right? So this will be available for purchase in store as well. So if you want one that's already done, you want to add an Absolute Batman to your collection, here you go. It's ready to go. Otherwise, you can wait until this afternoon, and there will be some more available for you. So anyway, that's today's video of what's in the box. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, quality over quantity, all slabs, all good stuff. I will see you guys this Saturday in Logansport at your friendly neighborhood Comic-Con. Enjoy it. It looks like it's going to rain and be a little wet out there, but we'll be okay. We'll be fine. Enjoy it. Tomorrow's free, or not free. Tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, and Daredevil #1 drops with the blind bag. Okay? Excelsior!